who cares if you can squat if you can't get up and down from the ground? It's beyond, to me, basics, but it's something no one really thinks about or considers until they can no longer do it.
If you have questions, please feel free to email us, podcast@verse.fit. Otherwise, you can comment below or just like our podcast. I know you're a trainer. You're highly recommended. So let's start off with some bio stuff.
Hi, I'm Liz Bash. I am a personal trainer. I also own a group fitness and personal training gym here in LA. And I started working with Verse a couple of years ago. I want to say before it was officially released, and I've been in love with it since. I think it's a fantastic idea and execution, and I think it's beautiful.
Oh, well, that's awesome. And I've definitely seen some of the videos you've been involved with, and you're clearly pretty experienced and knowledgeable. What's your background? Were you an athlete?
So I grew up playing sports, and around middle school I fell in love with dance. So I would say through my formative years, I actually was much more creative, and I used my body very athletically, but I fell in love with dance, and I think it gave me a kind of different appreciation in body awareness, and I can tell how it influenced me now in fitness, not only for my own body and how I'm aware, but kind of how I can teach my clients form and how to be aware of the little parts of their body or weight distribution or things like that are really important.
What kind of dance was it?
I have been classically trained, so like ballet, modern, jazz, tap, but as I grew into it, I fell in love with hip hop, and to this day I would identify as a street dancer, so like popping, locking, freestyle has been my main love, but I'm trained in all different styles.
Well, that definitely carries over to stuff in the gym for sure. Like you mentioned, posture and body awareness, but also, especially with hip hop dancing, I mean, that's basically gymnastics and crazy body weight,
Definitely.
Strength.
And then, you're doing it on concrete, so you gotta learn. I think my injuries from dance is what really got me into more corrective based exercise. Because when I started in the gym, we were all 20 in the gym for the first time, and I was thrashing my body, didn't need any recovery. And as time goes on, you got to take that a little bit more seriously. And in order to keep it fun, we got to keep it healthy. So I've leaned more into that as I've gotten older.
Yeah. As much as we may not want to, unfortunately, I think that's the reality we all have to face at some point.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be able to just stay up all night forever. What do you mean?
Yeah, and not feel like complete garbage the next morning. And
Exactly.
What kind of injuries did you get from dance?
So I'm a pretty tall gal, so I would say my biggest injury was actually because of my growth. I grew more similarly to a boy. I had a growth spurt in my freshman year of high school. So freshman year of high school, I was 4'11", and by sophomore year, I was 5'6". I'd grown a little over 7 inches in a year. And through that, I ended up with only like 20 to 30% cartilage in my knees. Now, fast forward decades, they have a lot of different like procedures. They even do, I want to say it's from pigs, they do like replacement cartilage and stuff like that. But back then, I didn't have as many options, so they threw me into physical therapy for 6 months. Did not make a lick of a difference. I was 16, 17. I went from dancing every day to barely being able to walk from class to class. I graduated high school at 17, and then I decided to go to massage therapy school because I'm not a huge fan of school, but I wanted to learn more about the body. As much as if I could have been a doctor in 2 years of college, I think I may have even gone that route, but I wanted to learn about the body, and I was really convinced that if I knew more, I could do better and I could help myself. So that's what I did. And then I would say within 9 months of leaving high school, I was back to dance, running, jumping, all the good stuff. I really just learned how to support and build the tendons and muscles around my knee. To this day, I'm extremely aware of I don't even want to say limitations, but the things that I have to think about or care about a little bit more than anyone else. And I tell that to all my athletes with injuries, right? We can go through post-injury, you can go through full recovery and still know that's an area of your body that you're going to have to always give that bit of extra love to. Because an injury is always susceptible to another injury or a re-injury. Right. So learning how not only to re-strengthen it, but then how to take care of it long term, I think has always been really important for me, but now I'm being able to share it with others, and I love that other people are being able to discover new things about their body and how to take care of it.
Yeah, I can say from personal experience with clients that those are some of the most gratifying people to work
Definitely.
with is when they're told, oh, you can't do fill in the blank again, and then 6 months or a year down the line of working with somebody, they can do it again. It's life changing.
It's
Yeah.
empowering. It's amazing. It's the best feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was there, like a handful of things that you did that you would say were the most impactful in getting you to a stronger point of being able to run and jump and dance and all those things again? Or was it just kind of the cumulative everything?
I think it's a combination of consistency and patience. And I've never met a passionate athlete that's just like inherently patient when they're told to sit still. I think I learned a lot more from being on the injured side or the limited side, where now I can understand that your mind is in the gym in those moments. Like you have, there's a certain like mental sharpness, there's a certain level of determination it takes to be still, and then also to prioritize what would be considered boring movements or novice movements, taking things back to the basics, kind of doing things of that nature that are boring and don't feel like you're actually doing anything. You progress a lot quicker. And I think that was my first time actually giving my body the time it needed without putting the extra stress on it of wanting to perform.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then are you still dancing today?
Absolutely. I will always be a dancer. Like I said, I'm a tall girl. I think for me, and I include this in fitness, I never feel salesy. And I say that to say I love what I do, and I think in anything I've done, my vibe attracts my tribe. But specifically in dance and different art forms here in Hollywood, it's a lot less about talent, and it's a lot more about the way you were born, the way that you look, how tall you are, if I'm too tall for my counterpart, or as a dancer, am I taller than the artist, or things like that. So I really just decided I never wanted to resent the things that I love because I attach them to my personal success or my self-worth or things of that nature. So I will always be a dancer. I dance daily and I love to do creative projects. And if that continues to lead me down its own career path, amazing. But I love it for what it does for my body and that I feel the most myself when I'm dancing and moving.
Oh, that's great. Would you say it's a component of your fitness that you incorporate, or just like a hobby enjoyment kind of thing?
I think it intertwines so deeply. I think dance intertwines so deeply with who I am that it absolutely affects my training. It affects the way that I put workouts together. I'm constantly told I can't help it that I have a very rhythmic flow to my workouts. Of course, I teach also like beat cardio classes, like cardio kickboxing or Zumba or things like that. But when it comes to approaching a workout, let's say if I'm programming a workout, I really do take it like a dance. It's got to have that beginning, middle, and end. There has to be a reason for the order and why I'm doing things in a certain way. And I didn't realize that I was the only person thinking that way until I started sharing with other trainers how they program. I like to do a lot of combination, functional movement. Of course, I have heavy respect for the heavy lifts, but I love to make them real and move in space and kind of working on all of the different planes. I've noticed bodybuilders tend to work in that like up and down, forward and back plane, and I think that's a huge reason dance is involved, is I like to use every direction, every idea, and I love to play in the gym and see what I find.
I think that's something that gets overlooked a lot when it comes to any kind of exercise program or people going to the gym, is that play component of it. That it should still be fun. It shouldn't be work or a punishment or something that you have to do. There's so many different ways of exercising, whether it's some cardio-based thing, an endurance, or high intensity intervals or weights or pick. There's so many that there's no reason you have to go in and hate it and have it be a drag every time you go.
Exactly. I tell my clients all the time, if you want it to truly be a lifestyle and you're really looking at fitness as something that you want to build longevity in, it has to be fun. Even for me, as educated as I am, I don't always have a weight loss goal or a specific goal that I want to see on the scale, but having fun is always the goal. So I may not always do what quote unquote is exactly in line with what should be my programming. As long as I'm having fun, I know I'm going to stick with it. And to me, that's more important. the average over time. One workout doesn't make you skinny, just like one meal doesn't make you fat. So like that average over time is what we're competing with.
Right. I mean, I like to keep at different times of the year, depending on what I'm training for, but I like to keep one day a week that I just call a fun day. And it's whatever I feel like doing. Maybe it's whatever, just go and do a crazy arm workout, or if I saw some weird exercises online that I want to try, or if one of the people in the gym is like, let's do a sit-up contest or something, just go in and do something kind of unstructured and experiment and see, because I think you learn a lot from those kinds of days, because we, like you said, we can get so rigid into, oh, I do these exercises and they're all in this plane, and I've completely neglected any sort of like lateral movement or something. So now we're going to do like a
I can't tell you how many times I come across clients who can squat hundreds of pounds, but you ask them to balance on one foot and they can't.
Yeah.
And I think that is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see that with jumping a lot. And I don't do like crazy box jumps as high as you are tall or anything, but you get some people and you give them a weight plate. You like jump onto that, and the neural inhibition, like they almost can't do it. And it's like, I don't know, 2 inches. What is that? It's not even that thick, but because they just haven't moved their body in that way. And I don't think that's good. Like you shouldn't get to the point where you can't propel your body in such a small elevation. Like you should be able to jump that high. What if you had to jump up or off a curb or something? It's going to be higher than that.
Yeah, jumping, running. I saw a statistic that I'm totally about to make up and butcher, but I did see it, so we can double check my findings. But I think it's like less than 20% of people over the age of 35 ever sprint again.
Wow.
I think it's actually a younger age, like in their mid-20s or something. And then reading that made me think, like, when's the last time I like full-on sprinted? Not like a cute jog or running late to something, but when did I like sprint last? Yeah. And then I started running sprint drills because those are the things that inspire me. But it's things like that really got my mind thinking, because as we age, muscle and muscle retention is so important for overall health and for mortality rate overall. Absolutely. So I think just those small things of being able to put our bodies under pressure, God forbid the house is on fire, we need to get out functionally, being able to do something. It doesn't have to be your thing. I'm not a runner by any means, but I'm also the person that doesn't like to be told I can't do something.
Yeah, right.
I'm that type of athlete. I don't need to love it. I just need to be capable.
Yeah. I relate to that so much, especially the being told you can't do something. It's just like, that drives me crazy.
I'm a competitive spirit. You can't tell me that.
I was doing Muay Thai for a while, and I did one fight, and it went okay, but I guess not as well as my coach wanted it to go. And afterwards, I was like, oh, well, how did you think that went? And he goes, I don't know. Maybe this sport isn't for you. And he's Thai, so it was like not weird or anything. That's just how they are. But I told my wife about it later. I was like, yeah, he told me that maybe this sport isn't for me. And she goes, oh, so do you want to quit? And I was like, no. I want to quit my job and do nothing but Muay Thai for the next year to prove him wrong. Like, what are you talking about?
He pressed the button.
He
pressed the button.
And he knew that would do it, too.
Yeah. That's a good coach.
Yeah.
That's a good coach. I think every single one of my clients needs a different version of me to get the best version out of them. Some of my clients need me to talk smack the whole time, give them no praise, and I'm down. No problem. Tough love, no problem.
Who would you say is your average client?
So I work with a lot of post-injury and or post-op clients. I have a lot of like knee replacements or meniscus repairs, lots of rotator cuff injuries. I would say that takes up about 50% of my clientele. And then the other half, I like to work with actually now that I'm thinking about it, that's weird. I work with a lot of women of a certain age, I would say over 45, that are approaching perimenopause and menopause, mostly because I saw it as an untapped community that wasn't really speaking about how their hormones were starting to affect them. And I watched my mom go through menopause, and of course many women in my life. And as I went through my education, I realized that was kind of the least talked about or learned about subject. So of course I thought it was fascinating and dove in that direction. I also work with a lot of male bodybuilders, and I think it's an ego thing, because if I can outlift them, it's like a little competition. So I would say I have a wide range of clients, but I do like to work with what I call real people. I don't at this point train any like competitors or professional athletes. I really do like to work with real people and make real change in real lives. So beyond pre and post-op, I'm also a certified nutritionist. So I do work with a lot of, for example, right now, I have a client with lupus that over the past year, we got her completely off of any medication that she's been dealing with for, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago she was diagnosed, and this is the first time she's unmedicated. So things of that nature, fatty liver. I have a couple clients that have fatty liver, pre-diabetic, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's becoming more and more common. So if you're a good trainer, you should definitely educate yourself on those conditions. With the pre and post-op, are these people who have incurred these injuries through athletics or the gym or just daily life?
I would say it's a range. I don't know about you, but I feel like most athletes I know will get a random injury outside of the gym. You know, like hit a crazy leg day and then roll their ankle walking down the stairs. Doing something random like that. I would say there's a lot of injuries like that. There are others that I can tell that are just a result of not recovering properly. That it's built up tension that's been unchecked. It's kind of like not brushing your teeth and then being surprised that you have a cavity. You know what I mean? It's an accident waiting to happen, and normally it's just one rep too far that you feel that pop or rip or pull. So you think it was potentially that one rep or that one workout, but it's most likely been building for months. I would say 90% of the injuries that I deal with could easily be prevented, but even for me, sometimes it takes an injury to take your recovery more seriously.
Yeah. Oh, that's really astute point. I mean, any minor or major, any injury that I personally suffered, I can look back and go, yeah, I knew this was coming. And I just ignored it, you know?
Oh, 100%. 100%. People were to just be like, oh yeah, my hamstrings are just tight. And you'll say that for 6 months and then all of a sudden you pull your hamstring. It's not your body is so deeply connected. I think we just live in a society that has been taught since we were young to ignore the alarms that our body gives us, you know, like suck it up, you can do it, fight through the pain. Even as an athlete or a dancer, how many times I've performed with broken limbs or sick to my stomach. And I think, of course, that builds a different type of like self-discipline, and there's a lot of benefits to pushing yourself through or being triumphant over something. But on the other side of that, we lose that connection to our body tells us everything that's going on in the way we need it delivered if we're listening.
Yeah. I think we
don't listen.
We don't listen at all. And we probably make it worse with a lot of the way a lot of people exercise. They're still stuck in, I won't even say this bodybuilding mentality, but this machine-based bodybuilding mentality that developed in, I don't know, maybe the 80s or 90s of like body parts. This is my bicep. This is my quad. Rather than the whole big picture things. Like just because you worked quads doesn't mean it might not be affecting other parts of your body. And taking that holistic view of your entire body into account is something that a lot of people lose because they just think of it as a series of different body parts rather than one whole body. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to get people to switch their mind from that. I've worked with a lot of people who, when they first come in, that's what they're expecting. They're expecting like a body part split. Like today is chest day, and then this is back day, and then this is leg day, and whatever. And that's rarely how I program for people. Maybe if they're an advanced bodybuilder or something, but the normal person isn't going to get that. Yeah, they'll do those exercises, but it's going to be part of a larger, if not full body workout, then certainly like multiple parts of the body in one day. Right.
Because when are you going to wake up and only use one part of your body?
Right.
I think to me that it's a very potentially dangerous culture, because then you get, and I've been there, right, where there's certain muscle groups I'll avoid, they're not my favorite, and we don't even realize that we're creating imbalances within our body. Even when doing Olympic lifts, I've taken competitive bodybuilders into the gym and just had them do unilateral exercises. All right, give me a single leg, anything. And the imbalances are crazy, and then we wonder why our hips are unaligned, why we have low back pain, why our core can't really connect, or we can't engage it consciously. And all of those things, it's a trickle effect that I think a lot of people look at singularly. The biggest one I would say is the neck to low back pain. So I don't know if I always explain it in very ABC 1, 2, 3 terms, but your body works like a seatbelt. So how many people that I see that just think their neck hurts up here, but on the opposite side, their low back hurts, and they're completely unrelated. When your lat literally connects all of those areas. Then all of a sudden you go to do a pull-up and you're pulled. There's a lot of benefit to learning how your body's connected, and I think the more you know that, the more smart you choose your exercises or movement patterns.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. I mean, I think about that a lot with people I work with joints, for example. They come and they go, oh, my lower back hurts. You go, okay, let's do an assessment. You figure out their ankle mobility is terrible, their hip mobility is terrible, thoracic spine mobility is terrible, and you start working on those things. And with the exception of maybe the hips, they don't think of that as lower back. They go, why are we working on my ankles when it's my lower back that hurts? It's because the fact that your ankles are so tight, you're compensating up the chain, and that can cause some of the lower back issues you're having. And they just can't wrap their head around that until eventually they go, oh, actually, my lower
until
back
they
feels a lot
feel
better.
the difference. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Verse Fitness Podcast. I've been your host, Shane Robert. If you want to find out more about Verse, you can check us out at verse.fit. Or if you have any questions, you can email them to podcast@verse.fit. We love to do Q&A episodes. If you have any general comments, feel free to leave them in the area below or like, view, and subscribe.